The Opus is a landmark building for Dubai. It's a legacy project for Zaha herself. It's something that's incredibly important both to Zaha Hadid but also BSBG. Our role was to assist Zaha and her team in fulfilling on their ambition and design intent. We were the lead consultant, both for the architecture and the engineering, as well as the key role of delivering the executive architecture and the executive interior design for the common spaces.
The facade of the cube itself is actually very technical from the outer envelope, but when you start to look at the void, it becomes even more impressive, because to construct that void, you have to construct the building and the bridge, and then sculpt out the intersection of the cube. And that is a surface. It's not a angular or faceted space. It's actually a curved envelope, if you like. When you start looking at how that outer surface is manufactured and constructed, that negative space in itself was a huge challenge, and probably the biggest technical component of the building, creating an empty space. It's a very unique set of qualities that you're required to have, and I think we've managed to build that series of skills up quite well. It's providing leadership, identifying any concerns, looking at program and procurement, and working with the entire team to be flexible and respective of the design, because that's the only way you can actually make sure that you get the success that's required on a project of that nature. The actual envelope of the building was obviously defined, but it had been defined on a particular internal use, which was effectively a commercial development. So that parameter had been set. We were constructing, we were building the basements, the cores were coming up. But during the process, the use of the development changed, and the amount of commercial office space reduced, and additional functions were put in. So we had some serviced apartments were put in at the very top of the building, and we had a hotel component at the lower section of the building. So the middle part of the building, where the commercial offices were originally, was retained, but then everything else had to reset. And that was quite tricky, because the cores had been at a certain level, and a number of different functions needed to be built into that design process. So we had to understand how and what we could modify while the construction was going on.
It was a long journey. It was two different projects in essence, and we ended up holding 3 contracts through that process. So yeah, something of that nature and significance normally has quite a story associated with it.
With the amount of effort that was unique to that project to try and get the design and construction finished, it was hugely rewarding, and it actually looks spectacular, and I love driving past it and looking at it and just having some understanding that we were involved in it and that it's finished so beautifully. So hugely proud.
It's engaging, it's different from every angle, and yeah, I think it's something that, you know, really has a very, very, very special place in our practices portfolio, and I think in the greater context of the UAE and Dubai as well.